What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Rally Car Build Series. Today we're taking this awesome Rally Raid Porsche to the stages to see how this thing will do. It actually comes stock with all of the required upgrades, being the roll cage, all-wheel drive, rally tires, and rally suspension. So we're going to go ahead and start out with some aero pieces. Don't have much here. All we have is a little bash bar that we'll go ahead and throw on. I believe this is the stock paint job on the car, which, man, those are some beefy tires. 285s in the front. And we can get 305s in the rear, so we're going to go ahead and widen up. Not quite as much in the front. I'm going to go 235s in the front, but I'm going to keep the rear super fat, and we will go ahead and put some spacers on and make this thing a little wider all around. Got to leave the stock wheels on. That is also a requirement, and I'm curious to see how much power we're going to be able to pull out of this car. It doesn't have many upgrades. It's coming stock with just about 400 horsepower, so it should do all right. And it is twin turbo out of the factory, which is awesome. And I'm just going to go ahead and upgrade all of this stuff to get some weight out of it, and then also make the power curve more linear, give us more usable power instead of just throwing those turbos on. Although I feel like we might have to throw... Okay, so we're actually not going to be able to hit the PI requirements from this vehicle from just that. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can get more power out of an engine swap. I'm hoping that we can. Just swapping this V8 straight in there already gives it too much power. So we're going to go ahead and put in the 3.8 liter flat 6 twin turbo. I kind of just barfed all that out. And we're going to go ahead and throw some upgrades on this this motor. I don't actually know what this is from off the top of my head, but it's making a lot of power for this car, so that is insane. Look at the power from this thing. I believe the last car we took on here was the Fiat, and it only made, I believe it was 660 horsepower, or something in that ballpark. As I'm trying to hit, we'll throw that on, and then we'll go ahead and take, where is it? We obviously want to keep the brakes. We'll take the lightweight driveline out again, just like we did on the Fiat. And this thing is rocking with a whopping 889 horsepower. A bit heavier than the Fiat though, 500 more pounds, but 200 more horsepower. So that is crazy. This thing's gonna be an absolute monster. I'm curious if we're gonna be able to, you know, reel this thing in and keep it straight and keep it under control. But I guess we'll just have to see. So let's go ahead and take this thing on over to stage 1. I am really excited to see what this thing's going to be able to do, and if we're going to be able to handle this 890 basically horsepower. The first stage, of course, is a 4.1 mile dirt stage. It starts out on the pavement and then goes over the dirt, and we are waiting for the AIs to drive on up ahead. So we are starting at the 1 minute mark, which we are pulling up on right now, and we're off. Extremely short gear ratios in this car. So I don't think that was something I was able to change. So we're coming into this first corner here. This thing just not wanting to grip up at all and just sliding like an absolute monster. No grip compared to the Fiat. Doesn't even feel like it's the power that's slipping the tires. It honestly just feels like it's the tire compound, like it's not too great. We did widen the tires. We couldn't change the compound. I believe it came stock with the Rally compound, and obviously put in the spacers. Got this thing a little wider offset, and it's just sliding all over the place. Trying to keep this thing in control. I can't really just go flat out with this car. It is all over the place. We're getting a bit of air over the first jump. These gear ratios are just so tight. I'm 50 miles an hour in 4th gear. That is just absurd. The first hairpin right there in third gear. Almost cutting the corner a bit right there. So we're passing the hunter's cabin. Or no, that's not the hunter's cabin. We're passing a cabin. It's a nice little house right there. We're just trying to keep the RPMs up so we don't bog in second gear right there. Getting a little bit more speed out of this thing, putting this power, all this power to use. This thing is just a monster. I'm curious to see how this thing's actually going to hold up on the road stage. Maybe it'll grip up and just be an absolute beast, but maybe we'll have we'll be struggling for grip and it'll just want to slide. I'm really, really curious to see how it's going to be. This thing just has so much horsepower. I'm going to brake a little bit at the top of the jump right there. I don't want to swing too far wide with this car. As first and second gear in this thing are basically useless. I might as well just stay third for these tight corners that I'm shifting down for. Putting the power all the way down, coming around the corner, just letting off just a tiny bit and crossing over the line at 167 miles an hour. Absolutely insane. And finishing the first stage with a time of 2 minutes 56.8 seconds. So that's going to be 4 seconds slower than the Fiat. I'm not really surprised. This thing felt so much more squirrely and didn't really have as much traction as the Abarth. So hopefully it can pull it back in the next 2 stages. We're getting ready to start stage 2 in the Porsche right now, and we're trailing the Fiat by 4 seconds. So this thing's got a bit of time to make up, and I'm really feeling like it's not going to do too great on this this course. This course is very tight in close quarters, and has a lot of sharp turns. And I really feel like it's not going to do great. This thing just doesn't have a lot of grip. It's a mixture of both understeer and then also just overall lack of traction. But hey, you never know. I'm really going to have to go balls to the wall here to try and make up some time. But I think if any track was going to give this thing the lead over the Fiat, it definitely would have been the first course. I think that this course is not going to be great for it, and then also the road course. I think it's just going to be sliding too much on some of those tighter sections. And honestly, 4 seconds, that's big. I don't know if this thing's going to be able to catch up, but hey, you never know. I'm gonna try my heart out and try and get this thing to beat the Fiat. Honestly, was not expecting it. I was really expecting this car to in fact beat the Fiat on the first course, especially with these huge wide tires. But I don't know. I'm curious to see how it'll be. We're coming up to our first hairpin right here. Leaving the car in second gear because these gear ratios are just so short. Honestly, might even on this 90-degree left, I'm just going to leave it in third. These ratios are so short. Yeah, look at that. It's got so much power too. Doesn't bog down at all. Just gets the tires spinning and just gets it going. So passing the tree there. Really feathering the throttle, trying to keep this thing on track and not hit any trees. Because definitely, if we hit a tree, if we hit a tree or mess up big like that, this thing is definitely out of the race. Swinging super wide around that corner, almost to a dead stop, but still, this thing just pulling out in fourth gear. Bit of the high speed section right here coming up. Trying to slow down for these corners a bit. Running a bit inside there. Really ballsing this up. But I mean, I have to just try and go absolutely to the wall with this car. Unfortunately, though, it doesn't seem like we're gonna be able to get a better time. Trying to keep it straight and just go flat out to the finish. 164 miles an hour over the finish line. And I'm curious to see the time. Actually, surprisingly closer than I thought. So we're finishing only 1 second behind the Abarth. So now, but we're still trailing by a total of 5 seconds. This thing's really gonna have to put a crazy timeout in the final road stage if it can reel it in. But only time's gonna tell. About to start the third stage now in the Porsche, and this thing's still trailing. It's still trailing the Fiat. We're down to a 5-second deficit right now, so we really gotta try and get a good launch out of this thing. I'm gonna go ahead and launch in third gear. Looks like that was a great idea. Didn't bog at all, just pulled right out. And I'm honestly, I'm going balls to the wall. I'm gonna try and get a really good time out of this thing. I don't think that it's honestly, it's really gonna take a miracle to be able to make up 5 seconds, but because I feel like the Fiat put up a good time, but I'm gonna try my damn best to try and reel that thing in. So the understeer and just the overall lack of grip in this car might just make that impossible for me to do, especially through this section around the roundabouts, through this section here. So it's not seeming too bad, but we are going into the wall right there, and I don't know what just happened. We just kind of glitched out. That could have been way worse. We're coming in just way too much understeer. Going right over the checkpoints. Trying my best. This course, though, it's the shortest one, so especially being down by a lot of time going into this one, it's not a lot of time to work with. So we're taking out another fence there, just really trying to go crazy to make up some time on the Fiat, although it doesn't look like it's going to be possible. 120 miles an hour around that corner, flat out around the last corner, and over the line at 166 miles an hour. What's the final time? So we do end up being slightly faster than the Abarth on the road course, but only by half a second. So sadly not getting that #1 spot, but still putting it, I guess half glass full, putting it in second place. Glass half empty. Last place, unfortunately, with only 2 cars now done on the course. Trailing the Fiat, unfortunately. I will add up the overall time, though, in a minute to let you guys know, what the time is. So the overall time for the Porsche 959 Rally Raid is 7 minutes, 17 seconds, almost 18 seconds. So, trailing the Abarth by 4 or 5 seconds. It's not the greatest time, but that's what we're gonna get with a lot longer times, opposed to 1 lap around a track, opposed to these 3 stages that are decently long. We're gonna be getting some more spread out times, but it's gonna make it just that even bit sweeter knowing going into stage 2 and stage 3 how much time we do have to make up, or how much time we have to play with compared to the other cars based on what it's doing. So yeah, I hope you did enjoy this video. I don't know what car is going to be in the next episode, but I hope you're looking forward to that. I hope to see you there. And as always, guys, I'm out.